Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. Today we're taking a look at the Toys Battalion The Champion, aka Shazam. What the hell took so long? Why only just now are we getting Shazam in 1/6 scale? The question is though, is he any good? That's what we're here to find out. Now I got mine as a review sample direct from Toys Battalion. They haven't told me to only say good things. All opinions, as always, are 100% my own. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as a brand new review goes live on the channel. As for the box art, I do like the idea, going with the front of Shazam's suit, with the belt down below, the suggestion of the suit texture with this print on the surface, and even the silhouetted lightning bolt. The only thing I don't love is the champion. Really? Couldn't you have just left that off the front of the box, Toys Battalion? You could have just gone with the massive lightning bolt symbol. At the very least, it's not the worst third-party name I've ever seen. On the side of the box, a lightning bolt and the champion, once more. Then around the back, we've got some yellow electricity, warnings, legal information in 2 different languages, and oh, what do you know? The champion, just one more time. Interesting. No slipcover. Usually, third-party companies do give us slipcovers, it's not the end of the world. First in-hand impressions? There are certain things I'm liking, and others, maybe not so much, such as the body. I will collect my thoughts, and we'll discuss it. What we are going to do now, though, is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box, and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first. It's pretty straightforward actually, it's rectangular, there's this textured surface up on top and it says The Champion. Thank goodness that's not also printed on the nameplate. The Champion is more than enough for me. Up top, an adjustable crotch grabber. You do get a pretty decent array of lightning effect pieces, ranging from ones that slide onto his body, his arm like this piece. It is more rigid though, so I would be careful not to damage the suit. They're also all cast in translucent plastic with a little bit of blue over the top. They are optically clear enough that when the light hits these for figure photography, I think they will convincingly cast a little bit of a blue tint onto the suit, as though they're actually glowing. Oh, yeah, no question, these are my favorite accessories. We get a can of Dr. Pepper, a can of Pepsi, a bottle of beer that's translucent plastic so it actually looks like a real bottle, and a chicken wing. Why? I don't know. Why the hell not? There's also a little bit of dressing over the top, as though he's just dunked this in some sauce and he's about to eat it. These accessories are so fun, and you can give them to other figures. I'm sure you'll be able to find other figures in the collection that could do with holding a chicken wing, a bottle of beer, a can of Pepsi, or a Dr. Pepper. Someone did say that Toys Battalion copied the Prime 1 Shazam head sculpts and shrunk them down to 6 scale. I don't know that I agree with that. I own the Prime 1 Shazam, and I'd say that the likeness on these head sculpts is actually better than the statue. Maybe that's just because they're shrunk down. Not to say that they didn't copy them, I just don't think they did. I like all 3 of these head sculpts, and while we're not going to go into detail now about which ones I prefer and what I like about them, we will do that when we actually get the figure out here. Just know you get 3, and they're 3 wildly different expressions. And lastly, a pretty decent array of hands, but the quality isn't decent. They're very waxy, there's not a lot of skin texture here, and the detail that is here is wildly different depending on which hands you look at. For this, the 2-finger salute hand, as you can see, the vein work is completely omitted versus the gripping hand where there's a lot of it. So I think they've just borrowed a bunch of hands from some of their previous releases. I like the array of gestures, I just don't like the quality of the hands. So for me, I'm going to be switching these hands out with probably some of the World Box ones. You get a thumbs up hand, you get some pointing gesture hands for the lightning, as well as some closed fists and open palm hands. What we are going to do now though, is get the champion, aka Shazam, himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. It's not great news, folks. There are certain things that I do like, such as the head sculpts and the outfit and the accessories. Everything else is pretty mid, especially the body. It's far too skinny. Maybe if you put in some work, you can get this guy up to that next level, the level I was hoping he was going to be at out of the box. Some people just won't be willing to do that extra work, and I understand. I am, because I have wanted a Shazam in 1/6 scale forever. But it's not going to be as simple as take him out of the box, do your pose, put him in the display. You might not care about the wonky proportions, which we will discuss, and that's also fine, then this guy will work for you. For the most part, we collect 1/6 scale figures because we want them to be as accurate and as realistic as possible. Right now, this guy is neither of those things. Up close and personal, kicking things off with his head sculpt. Now, I don't know about y'all, I reckon this is a pretty solid head sculpt. I can see the Zachary Levi likeness from pretty much every angle. It's not perfect. I'd say it's maybe like an 8 or a 7 out of 10, depending on personal preference. It's there, and technically it's well done. There's the frown lines, the wrinkles on the forehead, the skin texture is well painted, there's a 5 o'clock shadow, the skin tone isn't too dark or too light, I reckon it's about right. And the eyes, they look pretty real, there's a decent level of detail there as well. Even the neck has some muscles sculpted in, and the skin tone and skin texture matches between the neck and the head sculpt. Which for third-party figures isn't always the case, I'm glad it is here. I get what they were going for, and from certain angles it works, and I can still see Zachary Levi, whereas from others, because it's quite large on the very small body and the longer neck, doesn't really work super well. Maybe when we switch the body it'll be better. Right now, technically speaking, once again, skin texture, 5 o'clock shadow, the way the teeth are painted, I like all that. It's just that on this body, it doesn't really work for me. I know it's a goofy head sculpt, but I don't give a shit. I love this sculpt. It's so fun, it's full of personality, and it conveys that this is a kid in an adult's body as a superhero. I don't think you can do much better than this head sculpt, so in my display, he's going to be rocking this head sculpt all the time. All of the detail is still there, the eyes being as wide open as they are really sell the expression. And the bubble is translucent plastic, so light passes through. It looks suitably realistic. I also love the way they've done the hair with the individual strands sculpted and picked out, and the hairline is very clean. Back to the stock head sculpt, which I still really like, it's just that the bubblegum head sculpt wins it for me. Now, his cape is fine. It's this quite lightweight white fabric, it's a little bit shiny. I do, however, like the screen printing on the various layers around the edges. I don't like that it's not wired though. If this was wired, I reckon the cape would have been perfectly serviceable. Right now, because it has a mind of its own and all of the pleats are pre-baked in and there are no wires in the hood, it's not very easy to work with. In fact, it's a nightmare to work with, especially the hood. It sits up and it looks really goofy. Not to mention the attachment method is really weird. They've used fishing wire. Now, maybe in theory it works because it's super thin. In practice, oh, you can see it right off the bat. It's up there on the front of the figure and it does not look great. I am tempted to maybe glue this cape in position. That way the fishing wire won't need to be there. If you're considering a body swap like me, around the back underneath the cape, it's just a lattice stitch. This is a really straightforward stitch to replicate. Cut the string, look up a video on how to do a lattice stitch, you'll be perfectly fine. Slide the body in, stitch it up, job done. Okay, you all already know I hate the body, so let's not talk about the body, let's talk about the suit. There is some padding for the abs and the pecs, it's a little bit squishy. There is some texture on the surface, it feels like those typical superhero rubbery style suits. The screen printing is quite clean, and you have some suit poking through the gauntlets on the side. That is a nice touch, adding a little bit of depth. The symbol doesn't light up, but it's super bright and yellow, so I'm fine with that. And they've used that glossy yellow paint on the gauntlets and around the front for the belt as well. I am kind of worried about the belt because it is super tight around his skinny waist. When we do switch the body, I'm thinking that it might not fit. We will have to wait and see. That's a project for another day. Coming down to his legs, the screen printing is good. There's also all of this texture working its way down. It's a little bit stretchy, nice and forgiving when it comes to posing. What the hell is this? Why is there this massive step out at the thighs? I know that's the padding to try and beef him up a little, but it's not working. It makes him look even more ridiculous, and it throws off the proportions. Speaking of throwing off the proportions, his feet are huge. At the very least, the detail is good. We have these lightning bolts that you can see the suit through, adding some depth, like the holes on the gauntlets, so that's a tick. So too are the paint applications. They're nice and shiny and metallic, and there are washes in the crevices. Not to mention the boots kind of look like crumpled liquid metal, and that really works for me. On the underside of his boots, there is some sculpted tread, and there are washes in these crevices to bring out all of that detail. These electricity effects are surprisingly good. I thought I wouldn't use them because they do look a little bit cheap, and they're this hard plastic, so getting them on stuff is a bit of a challenge. Nah, when you pop it on there, you curl it around his finger, it's nice and secure. And it just adds something. It showcases Shazam's powers. And coupled with the smiling head sculpt, it looks like he's just having so much fun. For a quick side-by-side comparison, on the left, Toys Battalion Shazam, and on the right, Hot Toys Justice League Superman. I'm sorry, this just looks ridiculous. Toys Battalion's Shazam kinda looks like he's still in Billy Batson mode. He's shorter than Supes, he's scrawnier, yet his head is massive and his feet are huge. I have no idea what's going on with the proportions. Thank goodness Black Adam isn't out at the time of filming this video, because if I had him in here to do a comparison next to Shazam with, I think that Shazam would look even more ridiculous. I do plan to use the Justice League Superman body to upgrade this Shazam, seeing as though they should be similar heights and builds, but that's a story for a future video. Right now, I would not display this Shazam as is next to this Supes. Nor would I pair up these two. Diana can be a little bit taller than Shazam because she has the whole demigod Amazonian thing going on. Not by this much, though. She absolutely dwarfs him. He looks like he's still in Billy Batson mode, like I said when he was standing next to Supes. He also does this Wonder Woman a disservice. Because of the quality of the body that they've gone with, he brings down the overall quality feel of Wonder Woman. Until he has that body swap, I just don't think he's displayable with other DC figures. Going over articulation, I'm fairly certain I know what to expect here. It feels like a very familiar Toys Battalion body at this point. We've seen it with a bunch of their releases. Still, let's give it a go. Starting off with his head sculpt, it's on a fixed neck with a ball peg up underneath, looking forward to there, going back to there, decent but not perfect for a flight pose. Swivel and pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there, they will go forward and back. There's a butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Single bend at the elbow going to about 90, and that's where you get the swivel. There is no bicep cut, it's just from the elbow joint. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. The torso does crunch forward and back more than I was expecting, especially given that there's a lot of padding and you have to be mindful of the chest symbol. You also get swivel and pivot side to side. The legs will go forward to there and hold. Mostly they move back down just a touch. They will go out to there, swivel at the upper thigh, double bend at the knee going just past 90. And then for his massive feet, the ankles are on a double ball peg, meaning they're good for forward and back, swivel, as well as ankle tilt. The split cut boot design also helps. Wrapping up on the Toys Battalion Shazam, I have been really harsh on this guy, and I'm sorry, Toys Battalion, I just call it how I see it. I think you're goofed on the body, it's far too skinny. If only they had used a bigger body, the head sculpts are good, the outfit is solid, and I love the accessories. It's just the body. It's crazy how one thing can ruin an entire figure, and it does. I think this guy is straight up a skip. If you don't plan to do a body swap, there is no real reason to get this guy. He doesn't look accurate to the movie, he's not big enough, he's not bulky enough, he doesn't scale with the Justice League. He is going to throw off your entire display, especially if you pose him next to Black Adam. I am planning on doing a body swap, and like I've said, I'll update you in a future video. Right now, this guy's going right back in the box until I can get that new body in and pop it in this outfit. There's also no way of knowing if it's even going to work. I could try putting that new body in and it looks just as terrible as it does now. So, if you are sitting here thinking, ooh, do I need this Shazam CBF getting a new body? And you like the way it looks? Then hell yeah, go ahead and get this guy, pop him in your display. Maybe this is going to be your only DC figure because you absolutely love Shazam and you don't care about the proportions. This guy's going to work for you. Everything else is really high quality. It's just the body and the cape with the weird attachment method and not being wired that lets this guy down. Now, I got mine as a review sample from Toys Battalion. Like you've heard throughout the video, I have not been told to say good things. All opinions are 100% my own. If you are heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.